Greetings, our Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. I've learned today that I'm probably suffering from an allergy rather than a disease, and that might cause me to cough a bit. Hopefully, this will be over soon now that I got some over-the-counter medication that was advised to me. And so we'll just see how that goes. I promised you that I was going to take a look at the bombing on uh, Iran upon their nuclear weapons and so forth. And so I'm going to do this I'm thinking two-part. Today, we're going to look at the War Powers Act. And why am I doing that? There's this illustrious woman out there, goes by the initials AOC, who I guess she's already uh, sought impeachment over this. And so let's take a look at the War Powers Act, which she is claiming he is in violation of, and therefore should be impeached. So up until 1973, we'll begin there, when the War Powers Act was actually passed. It says, excuse me. So in 1973, after decades of U.S. intervention in Vietnam and elsewhere in Asia, lawmakers passed the War Powers Resolution to reassert their authority over military action in the Constitution that primarily rests with Congress. But over time, it has moved over to the administration, the presidential. Now, so they decided to pass this War Powers Resolution. Now, this law restricts the president's war-making powers, or that was its intention at least. What are the key provisions of the War Powers Act? The federal law was designed to limit the U.S. president's power to commit the U.S. to armed conflict. Enacted over Nixon's veto, the resolution requires, in the absence of a declaration of war, that the president notify Congress within 48 hours of military action and limits deployments to 60 or 90 days unless authorizations to extend them are passed. Why is the War Powers Act relevant now? Well, on Monday, this is the Monday prior to the attacks, actually. Democratic Senator Tim Kaine introduced a bill requiring that Trump, a Republican, seek authorization from Congress before ordering military strikes against Iran. That was followed by a similar bill put forward in the House of Representatives on Tuesday by U.S. Representatives Thomas Massie of Kentucky, a Republican, and Democrat Ro Khanna of California. And even as some polls find Trump supporters are against war with Iran, passage of such bills in the Republican-controlled legislature remain unlikely. Why is new legislation needed if it's in the Constitution? Despite the constitutional separation of war powers, the executive and legislative branches have jockeyed over those roles throughout U.S. history. Throughout history, formal congressional declarations of war have remained scarce. There have been just 11 of them. Instead, Congress has traditionally authorized a wide range of military resolutions. Does the War Powers Act have any teeth? Almost since its passage, the 1973 law has been viewed by some critics as deeply ineffective. More of a political tool for lawmakers to voice dissent than as a real check on power. Congressional resolutions seeking to end military involvements unauthorized by Congress are subject to a presidential veto, which can be overridden only by 2/3 majority votes in the House and the Senate. How do presidents view the act? While Nixon was the most vociferous in his opposition to the War Powers Act, he's hardly the only president to appear critical. Modern presidents have routinely sidestepped the act, using creative legal arguments to work around its requirements. The executive branch has since steadily expanded its war-making powers, particularly after the September 11th, 2001 attacks. The 2001 AUMF and the 2002 Iraq AUMF have been used to justify attacks on terrorist groups in at least 19 countries, according to the Friends Committee on National Legislation. In that, the executive branch has stretched this authorization to cover groups that had no connection to the 9/11 attacks, including those such as ISIS or ISIL, known by both of those names, which did not even exist at the time. Heather Brandon Smith, the nonprofit legislative director of foreign policy, wrote in a briefing. Can the War Powers Act stop Trump from going to war with Iran? Well, that remains to be seen, but it does not seem likely. During Trump's first term in office, Congress sought to limit presidential war authority for the first time since the Vietnam War, with the balance of power in Congress since then fully shifting to the Republicans. In Trump's second term, the newest war powers resolutions face an even stiffer battle. So the War Powers Act is where the battleground seems to be taken right now. AOC, I've been told, this is my opinion, by the way, I have been told that AOC is a brilliant woman. Now, her genius, if you will, high. Her intellect, high. Her capacity to learn, high. I'm not so sure about her capacity to understand what she learns. She apparently shares that high opinion of herself. But when I have listened to her, I have not heard much in the way of common sense arguments or solutions coming out of her mouth. So I had to dig for myself to find out about the War Powers Act. I mean, that's what she's focusing on. She's accusing the president of violating the War Powers Act. Well, first of all, is that a impeachable offense? Two, has he done anything in violation of that? Now, that's the part we're going to look at. Now, it is possible she is smarter than all the lawyers who've ever taken a look at the act. Give her due on that. Although I don't believe it's true. There was nothing in what I read to you just now that suggested the president had to notify Congress before he acted. Notice he has to do, he's given within the first 24 hours, or was it 24 or 48? He had to notify them of what he did. But there was no notification required before he acted. So for her, excuse me. So for her to attack the president and saying he violated the act, it's just not true, not even close. The War Powers Act is very specific. It said within so many hours, and then it talked about the troops being, well, he sent no troops. So no, there's no troops over there. So that is a case. We don't even have an embassy there, so there's not even embassy troops. So the thing is, he's done nothing on that area. It is apparent that the president used the attack as a way to reinforce the need for Iran to back down. We are not at war yet. It could be argued it was part of the negotiation, which I tend to agree with. Even even Democrats know that impeachment is a foolish response. AOC has become a liability to the party. But I think the Republicans could secretly hire her as their I want you to listen to this carefully. Secret undercover source known only as Agent of Chaos, AOC. So that is what where we're at right now is looking at the War Powers Act. Does she have a leg to stand on? I don't see it. She sees something there that, but it's not whether she sees it or not, whether she can get others to see it, enough of them that they can actually force it through the House. That is, it's a stupidity thing. Although she is smart and has all these brilliant possibilities for herself, she somewhere along the line misconnecting the dots, and she has become a liability. She's been a liability ever since she hit the national scene. She's got a loud mouth, and she trips up every once in a while. Probably more often every once in a while. But she'll stumble. She'll make mistakes, and sometimes people will see it right away and point it out, and that makes her a liability, especially when they were the strongest party in the nation. She undermined their ability to get things done. When they lost that ability, she's now becoming a source that Republicans can exploit. Here we go. Exploit is the word I'm trying to think of. She can do that, and the Republicans can do that involving her. But I don't think this is more than a little barfly situation. Take a fly swatter to her and she's done. The issues here, it looks to me like Trump is using the whole thing as part of his negotiation tactic. And by the way, there's an observer out there watching all this who just saw that the United States was not afraid to go in and bomb and deep into Iranian territory and bomb and destroy their bunkers, their nuclear bunkers. President Putin of Russia is not a stupid man. And as he's looking at things, now he has some things he has to take into consideration. The United States has shown it's got a strong leader. So when he's back on the hot seat and is negotiating with Trump again, he may have to, if he's smart, as I think he is, he's going to have to start getting serious. And that's all that Trump wants him to do. Get serious and then get the peace process moving. In the peace process between Israel and Iran, first of all, he is pro-Israel, which is he should be. Any smart person, if you believe the Bible is the word of God, then you know that God has put his stamp of approval. Even though the Israelites are in the land in unbelief, they still enjoy his protection. And countries that go after them, who persecute them and things of this nature, will eventually pay for that. So tomorrow, I plan on exploring the bombing itself. So do you enjoy this channel? I enjoy putting it out. And what I try to do is I create a material that you can listen to. You can decide for yourself whether you agree with my interpretation of the facts or not. And I encourage you to take a stand one way or another and to comment. I also encourage you to do so civilly. Keep it civil. I will remove your post if you are not. I've demonstrated that in the past. So that being the case, I invite you to share your thoughts on this whole matter. And I look forward to you bringing you even more tomorrow. Meantime, if you have not subscribed to TR Book Services, TR Independent Books, then I would encourage you to do so. Just subscribe to us, and you start getting the material that I put out. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next episode. You have a great day.